If you saw a massive wolf sprinting toward you in the wild, would you run or stand your ground? For Sam Walker, a retired park ranger living alone in northern Montana, that moment came without warning. He hadn't seen another soul in days until the snow around his cabin trembled with heavy footsteps. But what made him freeze wasn't fear, it was recognition. Sam had lived a quiet, reclusive life since losing his wife to cancer 3 winters ago. His days were spent chopping wood, tending the fire, and pretending he didn't hear her favorite songs when they came on the radio. The loneliness was sharp but predictable. Nothing in his world ever changed, until it did. Years ago, Sam had rescued an injured wolf pup he found caught in a steel trap near the border of Glacier National Park. The animal was barely breathing, its leg mangled, its eyes dim with pain. Against every rule he'd ever followed as a ranger, Sam brought the pup home, stitched it up, and named him Shadow. He told no one, not even his wife. Shadow stayed with Sam through the hardest winter of his life. He grew fast, stronger by the week, until his wild instincts pulled him back toward the forest. One morning, Sam woke to an empty crate and paw prints leading toward the trees. It broke something in him, but he let the wolf go. That was 5 years ago. Now, standing outside his cabin in the dead of winter, Sam watched in disbelief as a massive gray wolf emerged from the trees. It stopped 20 feet away, head tilted, eyes locked onto Sam's. The snow fell silently around them, but the air buzzed with something unspoken. Then the wolf took a step forward. Sam's breath caught. Could it really be him? The wolf moved slowly, no signs of aggression, but something primal pulsed in its movements. Sam didn't dare call out. The woods didn't offer second chances. But deep in his chest, a familiar warmth flickered. A name he hadn't spoken in years hovered on his lips. He remembered Shadow's eyes, one darker than the other, a strange quirk even the vet had marveled at. This wolf had that same gaze, that same cautious approach. Sam lowered to one knee, unsure if he was greeting a ghost or a miracle. The snow crunched softly as the wolf closed the distance. From the tree line, a hawk screamed. The sound jolted the wolf, but instead of running, he let out a low, drawn-out howl. Sam's hands trembled. Memories came flooding back. The first time Shadow ate from his hand, the way he'd slept by the fire during that first storm. It all felt impossibly real now. The wolf was close enough to touch. Sam reached out slowly, heart pounding like it had when he first held his wife's hand 50 years ago. The animal didn't flinch. Instead, it pressed its head gently into Sam's palm, eyes closing as if remembering too. Sam swallowed hard, barely holding back tears. Then a sound broke through the stillness, a sharp rustle from deeper in the woods. The wolf pulled back, ears alert, body tense. Sam stood scanning the trees. Something or someone was coming. He had seconds to decide, follow the wolf or retreat to safety. But the way Shadow looked at him, it wasn't over yet. Sam stepped forward instinctively, his boots sinking into the snow, following the wolf without hesitation. Shadow glanced back once, then moved swiftly into the trees, as if guiding him somewhere urgent. Sam's joints ached with every step, but something stronger than pain kept him going. Something that felt like purpose. They moved deeper into the forest, where the light barely touched the ground and the cold pressed harder against Sam's skin. After 10 minutes, Shadow stopped near a rocky outcrop, letting out a low whimper. Sam looked around and saw what the wolf had led him to, something curled up beneath a bush, barely moving. It was a young wolf, smaller, thinner, and trembling with every breath. Its leg was twisted unnaturally, blood staining the snow around it. Sam's heart clenched. He knelt beside the pup, his hands moving without thought, checking for signs of life. The pup opened one eye weakly, then closed it again, exhausted. Sam didn't ask himself why Shadow had come to him. He knew. Somehow, in a language older than words, the bond they once shared had endured. Shadow had come back not for himself, but for help. For this pup. And Sam wasn't going to walk away no matter what it cost him. Tearing the injured pup back to the cabin was agonizing. His back screamed with every step, and the cold gnawed at his fingers. Shadow walked beside him the entire way, silent, steady, as if guarding them both. Sam whispered to the pup, hoping his voice could offer comfort as warmth faded from its small body. Back at the cabin, Sam cleared the table and laid the pup down, wrapping it in his thickest flannel shirt. He worked quickly cleaning the wound, splinting the leg, heating water for pain relief. Shadow paced near the window, glancing out every few seconds. Something still had him on edge. Sam worried that someone might have been tracking the pup poachers, maybe or worse. Wolves weren't protected everywhere, and the motherless pup was easy prey. He checked his rifle, loaded it, and left it leaning by the door, just in case. He hadn't had to defend anything in years, but now everything felt different. That night, Sam didn't sleep. He sat beside the pup, checking its breathing, feeling Shadow's watchful presence behind him. The fire crackled low. He thought of his wife, how she would have smiled at this moment, how she always believed animals chose their people for a reason. Maybe she was right. By morning, the pup was still alive. Weak, but fighting. Shadow hadn't left his side. Sam fed it a little broth with a spoon, watching as its eyes fluttered open, cloudy with confusion. For the first time in years, Sam felt that old instinct rise again, not fear. Not duty, but something deeper, the need to protect. He stepped outside to get more firewood and saw fresh prints in the snow human. They weren't his. They were newer. Someone had come close. He looked back at the cabin, then at Shadow, who stood stiffly at the door. Sam knew what that meant. The danger wasn't just a memory. It was here. Sam locked the door behind him and loaded the rifle with steady hands, the kind of calm that only came from years in the wild. He didn't panic, he observed. Whoever had been there was gone for now, but they'd been close enough to see the smoke from his chimney. That meant they might come back. Inside, the pup whimpered softly, and Sam returned to its side. Shadow didn't lie down, he stayed alert. Tail low, head high, guarding both the door and the little one. Sam had seen animals grieve, but this felt different. This felt like a father protecting a child, or maybe a soldier standing by his fallen brother. The pup began to heal faster than Sam expected. By the third day, it could lift its head and take water on its own. Sam found himself smiling again, the kind of smile that had dust on it, unused, forgotten. He started talking more even when no one answered. Shadow listened. The pup blinked, and Sam healed too. One afternoon, a game warden knocked on the door. Sam tensed. He hadn't told anyone about the pup. "There's been activity nearby," the man said. "Someone's been setting illegal traps." Sam nodded, hiding his fear. If they found out what he was doing, what he had done, they could take the animals away. But the warden didn't come in. He left after a short chat, warning Sam to be careful and report anything unusual. When the truck disappeared down the snowy trail, Sam turned to Shadow. "We've got to keep this quiet," he muttered. Shadow blinked slowly, as if in agreement. The secret stayed between them. Each day the bond grew. The pup began to stand, limping awkwardly, always leaning toward where Shadow was. Sam built a small enclosure just outside the cabin where it could walk safely. He gave it a name, Ash, for the color of his fur and the way he rose from pain like something reborn. A neighbor, Helen, came by with soup and noticed the tracks. "Coyotes?" she asked. Sam hesitated, then nodded. "Just passing through," he said. He didn't lie often, but this was different. These weren't just animals. They were family now, and families protect each other, even from well-meaning friends. Sam wrote letters to his daughter again, something he hadn't done since his wife's funeral. He told her about the snow, the trees, the quiet, but not about Shadow or Ash. Not yet. He wanted to wait until it meant something, until there was a reason to believe this was more than just a passing visit from the wild. One morning, Ash followed Sam to the woodpile, limping but determined. Shadow walked on the other side, flanking him like a guard. Sam stopped and looked at the two of them. "You boys are going to get me in trouble," he said softly. But he was smiling as he said it, and it was the first true smile in years. Then, one evening, Ash let out a high-pitched bark, his first sound. It was rough and unsteady, but full of life. Sam knelt beside him, tears in his eyes. Shadow nudged the pup proudly, and for the first time, Sam saw what they really were. Not just animals, not just survivors, but family, brought together by pain and rebuilt through love. Spring crept in slowly, softening the snow and warming the earth around Sam's cabin. Ash grew stronger by the day, his limp barely noticeable now. Shadow stayed close, never venturing far, as if he knew his time there had a purpose. Sam, too, felt a quiet shift inside him, less ache, more breath. Their days found rhythm. Ash learned to respond to Sam's voice, to come when called, to wait at the door like a polite guest. At night, the three of them would sit by the fire, Sam reading aloud, Shadow lying still, ash curled by his feet. It didn't look like a rescue story, it looked like home. Sam didn't feel alone anymore. He still missed his wife, he always would, but the silence that had once haunted the cabin was now filled with life. Little sounds mattered again. The scratching of paws on wood, the soft howl at dusk, the crackling fire met with steady breathing from loyal companions. People in town began to notice a change in him. Helen said he looked lighter, like someone who'd remembered something important. When his daughter finally visited that summer, she stood speechless at the sight of Shadow watching from the porch. Ash nestled near the steps. "Dad," she whispered, "is that a Wolf?" He told her everything. The trap, the rescue, the years apart, the return. She cried not from fear, but from the raw beauty of it. "You always had a way with the wild things," she said, holding his hand. "But I didn't know you needed saving too." Sam nodded. "Neither did I," he whispered back. News of the poachers led to a small community patrol, with Sam quietly advising from the background. He never mentioned Shadow or Ash by name, but he spoke of the responsibility to protect what's wild, what's wounded, and what's trying to return. People listened, because he spoke with truth, not pride. Ash began to venture farther, sometimes disappearing into the trees for hours before returning. Shadow would watch the tree line until he came back, then nuzzle him like a worried father. Sam knew the day would come when they'd both leave for good, but this time, he wouldn't feel broken, just grateful. On the last morning, they were all together. Ash stepped onto the porch, looked back, and let out a clean, strong howl. Shadow joined in, low and powerful. Sam stood between them, hand resting on each head, tears in his eyes. No words. Just three hearts, connected by something older than time. They vanished into the woods that afternoon. Sam didn't call after them. He simply sat on the porch until dark, listening to the trees, feeling the warmth in his chest. He wasn't losing them, he'd already been found. They gave him back his reason to wake up, to care, to feel the cold and call it living. He didn't just save a Wolf. He gave him a name, a chance, a reason to come back, and in return, that Wolf didn't just remember him, he brought him home. If this story moved you, consider joining our members club. The link is in the video description. Your support helps us share more real stories of healing, hope, and second chances, for humans and animals alike.